All right. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Gakwadash. Second, I want to give double honors to the apostles of GMS that rule of well. And peace, blessings, salutations to the hopefully elect. This is Shakwakara from GMS, Virginia. And those will be edified. A little underneath the weather. So bear with me. So you have this video by the beloved brother, Shakwa from GMS, Mississippi. Good video, good lesson. If you're not subscribed, I would suggest that you subscribe and be edified. As you know, we're back in that Greco-Roman Empire. Nothing has changed, and it's mighty funny. Even during the time of the Greek Empire, you had a lot of our people which were indulged in this society, in that society, and became Hellenist. And it's not, in the Lord, sense of humor and wickedness as well, that our people still partake in those ancient rituals, showing you that there's no new thing underneath the sun. Just like you had our people worshiping those Greek customs then, our people are still doing it now. And I remember, I've been in a lot of places growing up. I've came across a couple of these jakes, which were, into those sororities and whatnot and so forth. And I always, used to tell, basically just say to myself, something's not right about them. I guess, it's a world to themselves. They had, if you're in those fraternities, certain doors, certain things, things open for you. It's like a brotherhood, I guess. But going back to that oath, and the scripture talks about not making oaths with gods, etc. And hold on. You have these jakes coming out speaking on how demonic and wicked. It ultimately goes back to those temple worships, the sacrificing, children, the orgies, etc., the drugs, perversion, and nastiness. When you go back to the ancient Greek gods, every deity had their certain ritual that had to take place. Yeah, like scripture says right here, Luke 8:17, for nothing is secret that should not be made manifest. So here it is, a lot of our people, and this goes back to, the earlier, I'm not sure how big it is still. I'm pretty sure it's still around. But I remember growing up as a kid, I would hear more so about it. Those Greek fraternities, the alpha, the betas, whatever. I would see certain guys with tattoos on their arms. You go to certain gyms, etc. You'll see these men or women, in a certain demeanor. But let me see something before I bring forth scriptures. Bear with me one moment. So a lot of things are coming out. A lot of things are coming out about what's being done, what our people are into. And see, this is the offspring. This generation always, matter of fact, The older generation always is always talking about this generation now. But one of the reasons why this generation is so messed up now is because of the actions of the generations before. Now you had here it is you have these sororities and these jakes that have been intermingled in these deities, and pretty much if you had any children amongst these practices and rituals, you have opened up a gateway of evil and different demonic forces into your household. So you have allowed certain spirits to come in because you're into these Greek philosophies and these Greekish ordinances. Same thing which took place amongst our people back in ancient the Greek Empire. Jake is messed up now because of what our parents have done and our grandparents have done. Going back to those black boulets, going back to those secret societies that Jake has been into, going back to the civil rights, and we all know, those civil right movements and everybody that was in that was thrown in front of your face were all basically sellouts. But again, those black boulets, those sororities, and those, things, whatnot, has been around. So done with this, we'll bring up ChatGPT, which talks about the Hellenistic era. It is not ironic. It's going on to this day. And just, let people know that's in the know. At one time our people, this is one of the biggest problems that our people always, indulged in, worshiping idols, worshiping different deities, worshiping different customs. They're just like this. That was the problem of ancient the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire. Is the same thing to this day. And it's funny again. Even to this day, you have our people that are indulged in this Greek bullshit. So it says, here are some key scriptures that show Israelites, Jews adopting, struggling with, or being pressured into Greek Hellenistic customs, especially during the period after Alexander the Great, when Greek culture spread through Judea. And I remember, those, if they did open up to you, those fraternity niggas, and you'd be like, yo, or you ask people like, yo, so what's up? What's up with that? They'll tell you, certain opportunities and doors open for you. So pretty much, just like when you go to those those empires prior, for you to indulge in, for you to get the dainties and the gifts of that empire, you had to make an allegiance. You had to make an allegiance. So it says, most of the clearest examples are found in 1 and 2 Maccabees, the Apocrypha, which described the Hellenization period under the Seleucid Empire. So it says, 1, building a Greek gymnasium, 1 Maccabees 1:14-15. So they built a gymnasium in Jerusalem according to the customs of the Gentiles, Slaki, and removed the marks of circumcision and abandoned the Holy Covenant. So this shows adoption of Greek athletics, attempt to reverse circumcision to hide Jewish identity, desire to appear Greek. So this was the thing, 2, desire to make covenant with the Greeks. 1 Maccabees 1:11-13. Let us go and make a covenant with the Gentiles around us. For since we separated from them, many evils have come upon us. So, and that's even to this day. Our people have this mindset Since we try to pretty much do our own thing, or we try to keep up this black thing, this mentality that we have, because our people are lost. Our people don't know what the hell's going on. Our people don't know that they're left to their right hand. So our people say, what the hell with it? This thing looks good. It has opportunities. Doors open for me. Hell, let me get down with it. And that's what eventually happens. Our people, join forces with the Gentiles, with the other nations. 3, accepting Greek religion and sacrifice. See that? So, here it is. You got all these Jakes in that video. Oh man, you had to do this. You had to do this. I've seen people die. I've seen people do that. Well, and that's the thing about our people. Our people don't really understand how the world really operates. How nasty, how ratchet, raunchy, and how nasty. Basically how the dark side of how what's really going on in this world. That's why a lot of our people just can't. It's mind-boggling to them. But in all actuality, when you go into the Bible and read about even our laws and statutes that Yahweh Shah has set up for us, that'll make you be like, God damn. And hey, honestly, severe. Because, we were supposed to keep them, but we fell off. But overall, you had other nations. You had other customs. You had the other nation that, whatever pretty much, they had going for their gods and their sacrifice. If you wanted to intermingle with them, hey, you had to get down. And this is why ultimately the Lord said not to do what? Keep covenant or be like the other nations. So you won't be like them. Don't desire to be like them. But our people done so. And see, a lot of people just read the Bible like a fairy tale book. And it's a book with really no volume to it. But this is reality. We're still living in biblical times. Nothing has changed. So when you read about Baal, Moloch, and all those gods, what is it, Tammuz, all these entities and gods that you read about in ancient times, they're here today. You hear about those Greco-Roman gods, deities. It's still here today. Nothing has changed. So 3, accepting Greek religion and sacrifice. First Maccabees 1:41-50. King Antiochus, I think the 4th. I'm not great with the Roman numerals, whatever you call it. Antiochus Epiphanes ordered abandonment of Jewish law, sacrificing the Greek gods, profaning the Sabbath, unclean food consumption. Some complied. So, our people got down, 4, Israelites participated in pagan sacrifices. 2 Maccabees 4:10-15. Under the high priest Jason, Jerusalem was heavily Hellenized. He had once shifted his countrymen over to the Greek way of life. See that? And Jason was a Levite. So, we understand the duty of a Levite. They were strictly given, their life was given to Yahweh, in the duty of the temple. So that shows you right there, that Greek Greco, lifestyle was very, it was cool. Just like here in America, it's cool to be an American. It's cool to be well, back in the day, Jake was really more so, will put emphasis on where you from. Back in the day, it was cool to be from, New York. You was a Harlem cat. You from the Bronx. You from Brooklyn. You from Queens. I'm from Jersey. Now I'm from D.C. I'm from Baltimore. not for VA. I didn't. Nah, I was trying to sit back and think about my me growing up, but no, you get what I'm saying. The fact that it was cool to be from certain areas. It was cool to be from. Oh yeah, I'm from Cali. I'm from Texas, whatever. From this such and such. It was cool to be an American. It was cool to have certain dialects, lingos, certain styles, bops, walks, talks. So this whole American ideology and philosophy has been cool, and a lot of our people, just can't break or drop it. And so again, nothing has changed. So it says he had once shifted his countrymen over to the Greek way of life. So he neglected his temple duties because we understand that the Levites were given to the worship of in the ordinances in the duties of the temple. Participated in Greek athletic games, valued Greek honors over covenant faithfulness. See that? So yeah, forced participation in Dionysian festivals. Second Maccabees 6:6 and 7. Jews were compelled to take part in Greek festival processions, wear ivy wreath in honor of Dionysius. Hebrew names replaced with Greek names. Second Maccabees 4:7 and 9. So, example, Joshua became Jason. Onias III was replaced. Greek names reflected cultural shift. So let me see something. 7 New Testament cultural pressure. Let me see. Yeah. Here you go. Here you go. Yep. So 7 New Testament cultural pressure. And again, nothing has changed. Later Hellenistic influence. While not direct rebellion like Maccabees, Greek culture heavily influenced the Jews' life in the New Testament era. So that's why you have that. It might bring it up, but it talks about there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek, and it tells you more so in here. Greek language dominance. The New Testament itself was written in Koine Greek, showing how widespread Greek culture had become. The Sadducees and Hellenistic Jews. Acts of the Apostles 6:1. A complaint by the Hellenists against the Hebrews. This shows Greek-speaking Jews, Hellenist culture division within Judaism, where the Jews, being an Israelite, because we ultimately know it was only the 3 tribes still remaining. And you had some of the northern kingdom around, but it wasn't a very great number. So you got to remember the 3 tribes, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. Though there wasn't a whole nation around during that time. The 10 tribes the 9 tribes, the 10 well, yeah, 10 tribes. The northern kingdom was already brought, not brought, but came over here on the western hemisphere. So it says, let me see. So after Alexander conquered the region around 3332 BC, Judea fell under Ptolemaic Greek rule, then Seleucid Greek rule. Greek culture, Hellenism included gymnasiums, theater, Greek philosophy, pagan worship, public nudity in athletics, political citizenships, systems. Some Jews resisted like the Maccabees, others assimilated. So you had some that put their foot down against it. Some didn't. Just like today, our people are down with the American society. Our people are into those Greek customs, sororities, And if I'm not mistaken, you just don't leave neither. It's a price. It comes with a price if you try to leave. But that's pretty much it. Those waves out of five. That was a shalom.